See if other. Okay. Well, obviously I know Matt and Melissa and Randy. Diane, I'm not sure which Diane this is because I can't see your last name. So we'll just do a quick round of intro since there's only a couple of us here, and then we'll dive into what we're going to talk about today. So, I am Christy. I am the representative from IM ALS who will be working with this team. I started volunteering with IM ALS in January of last year, and then was offered a position with them in August as Deb Paust was rolling out to retire and go live her best life. So they had a position open that I was offered. My connection to ALS is I was the caretaker for my friend Kurt, who was diagnosed with ALS in February of 2021, and he passed in October of 23. So I temporarily relocated to Houston from Orlando, Florida, to be his primary, and for most of the 7 months I was with him, his only caretaker. ALS is clearly near and dear to my heart. And actually, my best friend in high school, her husband passed from ALS, gosh, maybe 20 years ago. And he was one of the pioneers in drawing attention and advocacy for ALS. He actually drove, and I mean rode physically, his power wheelchair from Orlando basically to DC, with a van following him to raise awareness, and he had stops along the way. So it was crazy. If you ever want to look it up, his name is Ken Patterson. So he was one of the pioneers in getting ALS awareness up and going. So Matt and Randy, if you want to queue up an intro, Matt and Randy are going to be the co-chairs for this team. They've been working with me, gosh, it feels like forever, on getting this up and running and ready. So if you both want to do your intros, and then we'll do Melissa and Diane.
Sure, I'll go real quick. So my name's Matt Rochelo. As Christy said, I'll be co-chair, co-lead. I don't know the exact title with Randy. And I got involved with IMALS starting, I think, sometime last spring, so almost a year now since I've been involved. Now I was diagnosed with ALS in April of 2023. I live in New York City with my wife, and um, yeah, excited to be part of this team because I feel like we have a really good opportunity to kind of build upon, some of the really great work with the Live Gary Day initiative and MLB, and kind of expand that into other um, sports leagues and arenas. So looking forward to working with everyone.
Awesome. And then Randy says, my name is Randy Gregory Jr. I was diagnosed with sporadic ALS in 2011, and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. What he's also not sharing is that he is the co-chair for the Many Shades team. He is on the clinical trials team. He is on the community outreach team. He is on our CAC. Um, and I think he just does about everything else there is to do within ALS world here. So thank you. And then Diana, if you want to introduce yourself or put it in the chat, that would be awesome.
I'm Diane Williams from West Virginia. My connection with ALS is my friend Deb Winters
Mhm.
um, has ALS, and we've been friends for several years. Uh, I'm involved with her foundation, Deborah's Hope for Tomorrow. She made me aware that uh, you were doing this, and I have a connection through, I work at Marshall University through a former student with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Awesome. Well, we love Deb, so we will love you then too, Diane, because she is awesome.
I love Deb.
Give me a second here. Let's see what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I shared the agenda in the chat if you want to look at it. And I'm going to share my screen Because of course, like I said, I can't help myself. I put a PowerPoint together, so we're gonna go through that. Matt and
Or
Randy are going.
should we have Melissa introduce?
Oh
I don't
gosh,
think I
Melissa,
met,
I'm so sorry. My
but
brain.
It's okay. It's
I was
okay.
thinking you introduced yourself last night, and they're just melding together in my head. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. My name is Melissa, and I started to volunteer with AM EST in 2020. I'm a member of the Legislative Affairs team, Community Outreach, and now this team. I lost my aunt to ALS in 2020, in 2015. I'm sorry. She was diagnosed in 2013, and I'm a huge fan of the Yukon Huskies.
Well, thank you for that. I'm so sorry, Melissa.
It's okay.
Okay, now I'll share my screen. And as I was saying, Matt and Randy have a couple different parts that they're going to share with us, go over the goals. Sorry, my computer is, oh boy, my computer is being such a jerk this week. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. You can see this screen now?
yep. It
Yeah.
might not be in present mode, but I see it.
Yeah.
This
I'm
will work.
I'm trying to get there.
I
My
think
I can't,
it's the slideshow button like next to share, but also I might be wrong because I don't see the slide.
oh, there it is. Okay, sorry.
Mm.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason that we're gathering today is we want to go over what this team is doing, what we're looking to accomplish, and Matt and Randy will go over the mission, the goals, what we've been focused on, and then we will wrap up with some time for questions. And then if you want to sign up, we will let you do that too. So I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Matt, you have the section, and then if you just want to tell me when you're ready for me to move forward, I will click the slides.
Sure, that sounds good. Yeah, so I will give as a slideshow kind of an overview of our mission and values, which Randy, Christy, and myself, with I think with help from some of the other ALS orgs, drafted up over the last several months. We'll also talk about the hope that we can kind of unify not only ourselves but a handful and probably then expand it of other ALS organizations to help us because this will be a tall task to do entirely on our own. We really want to build a strong coalition, and then Randy will share some overview of the goals as well as sort of the role of how sports leagues can help us to raise awareness and as well as funding. So I think we can go to the next slide, though I haven't reviewed the slides super carefully.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Um, this, yeah, these might be more for indies, but anyway, so I can just talk about, I mean, we don't need a slide for it. I
Yeah,
can
these
talk
were
about
the
the
these are yours, Matt, the goals.
Oh, okay, the
Yeah.
goals. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Randy might have the goals, but yeah, I will touch on them a bit. So I'll just give our sort of mission and values, and I'll read this in part because we've spent, as I mentioned before, some time coming up with this. So our mission as a team is to establish a unified partnership of ALS advocacy groups to work with athletic entities, their franchises and member institutions teams, etc., across all levels of competition, major and minor leagues, the various conferences and divisions, women and men's sports, etc. And so we're kind of this is a high level, but over long-term goal is to kind of cast a wide net across ALS organizations and sports leagues, and furthermore by creating engaging and enjoyable experiences, we aim to grow the ALS community, raise awareness, and connect with advocates, individuals with ALS, their caregivers, in a comfortable and fun environments. We seek to involve professional and collegiate sports leagues in promoting awareness and fundraising efforts for research and to improve care for those living with ALS, support caregivers, and ultimately end the disease. So that's kind of a lot, and it's like high level, but that is our broad mission and vision with this team. But to get into a little bit more of the finer points, essentially our idea is these sports leagues, whether, especially at the professional level and collegiate level, have really, really massive audiences, often millions, if not tens or even hundreds of millions of people who are fans or watch games or matches on a regular basis. Even individual teams and athletes have pretty massive followings, especially these days on social media. These audiences, well, will probably be starting with primarily US based sports leagues and teams. The audiences, as we know, are increasingly global and very diverse. Which is certainly a target we want to reach and we know is important for this disease. Likewise, we know, just inherently there will be some people, probably a small percentage, who know about ALS and unfortunately have a connection to the disease. But as we also know, many or most of the people who are fans of these leagues probably know little or nothing about the disease, which we see commonly in the overall population. A lot of people maybe know about the Ice Bucket Challenge, but they don't know, for example, what it's about and what ALS really is. Um, Likewise, there are unfortunately some, especially former pro athletes who either have ALS or are living with it now or had it previously. And there's current players with connections to ALS, whether it's a family member or a former teammate or someone else who has the disease. And then some of these athletes, whether they're, past or current players who have connections to ALS, are already doing initiatives on their own. We found quite a number of players across a variety of leagues who are doing their own independent awareness raising and fundraising in connection to ALS organizations. For example, in the NFL, we can talk about this more later, but there are a number of current players who auction off game-worn cleats during the season that reach large sums of money that are then donated to an ALS charity. And in addition to that, there are also ALS organizations that are already partnering with teams, leagues, players, etc., to raise money and awareness, including, a very close to home example is AM EST with the Lou Gehrig Day initiative with the MLB, with Major League Baseball, but also Team Gleason, as many of you probably know, is doing a lot of work, does a lot of work with the NFL to help raise awareness and funding. But there's also an opportunity here, and this is where we fit in. This is where this team looks to capitalize. There's not a lot of cohesion currently around these efforts. Like there tend to be some independent things happening on one team or another, maybe in one league or another, or one particular player even, but there's not anyone kind of pushing a broader initiative that can be replicated across teams, across leagues. With the exception perhaps of MLB, as I mentioned before, with Lou Gehrig Day, but even with that league, there could be more we could do. So our aim is to join forces with the efforts already ongoing, and to try to create kind of a unified coalition or campaign of ALS organizations and sports, leagues, teams, athletes, whoever's on board, create like a really strong, powerful group, and then continue to, harness all that energy and those resources to push awareness and education about ALS and fundraising further. Um, so, and yeah, and part of our idea here is that by working together, all these different organizations, athletes, etc., we can obviously achieve more together and potentially reach thousands, if not millions, of additional people who currently know nothing about ALS. Um, so our our first uh, approach is to start with the NFL, since we've already made some headway with MLB, and that is currently ongoing, and those efforts will continue with the Lou Gehrig Day team. We want to pick a different league, and also the NFL just happens to be, have the largest audience of any pro sport in the U.S., with Sunday Night Football consistently ranking as the top watch program across all television programs in the country. Um, and also, there's an interesting connection. Lou Gehrig actually was originally I believe, a dual athlete playing both football and baseball. He actually went to Columbia on a football scholarship. So there's other connections as well that we can try to leverage. Eventually, we do hope to reach other professional leagues such as the NBA, WNBA, NHL, collegiate sports, etc. Um, so some of the things we're going to be looking to do, as I mentioned before, establishing partnerships both with ALS organizations and with sports teams and athletes. Um, and we'll also want to do a fair amount of community engagement, to expand the ALS community by through this initiative involving more advocates, people living with the disease, and caretakers into our activities. We want to look for opportunities. I know this is, living with is an absolutely awful disease. There's nothing fun about it, but I think we want to. Sports are inherently a way to bring people together, have a little bit of fun amidst troubling disease. So we want to create events that are fun, engaging, and can help raise awareness in a more enjoyable and relaxed atmosphere. I think that's worked quite well with the Lou Gehrig Day initiative as an example. And we also want our participation to be inclusive. So we want to ensure our initiatives are accessible and comfortable for everyone involved, meeting people where they are. And I will turn it over to Randy now, who I think had some.
Yeah, sorry about that. My slides were all wonky.
No, that's okay.
Melissa, your question about when the team will meet, we'll talk about that later. But right now, we are shooting to meet bi-weekly on the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern is what we're aiming for. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then I'm going to go through Randy's slides. He put together the talking points, and he'll share this in the chat, but I'll go ahead and read it, what he shared. So the goals for teaming up with ALS, and again, sorry, my slides were all out of order here. But the goals of joining the team by partnering together other ALS organizations, as Matt shared, and other neurodegenerative disease organizations, including sports leagues and their franchisees, players associations, colleges, and whoever else we can get our hands on. They're going to have an opportunity to impact society by raising awareness and research funds for this terminal disease, ALS. As part of this team, our unified efforts will be made to reach hundreds of thousands of people across a diverse population around the world. We want to raise the needed funds to support medical research and elevate one another's presence in the ALS community and the various communities around the world. And I'm going to kind of ad lib some of the stuff that Randy wrote. That what we have found with, as Matt mentioned, with the Lou Gehrig Day, working with the Major League Baseball teams, is there's 50 different ALS organizations all working independent of one another. And often we stumble over each other because, we want to be on the field, we want to be throwing out first pitches, we want to be on the jumbotrons, we want this. And I'm saying we as the individual, not just IMALS, but individual groups. And what we have found also is that a lot of these baseball teams have what they call legacy partnerships. So they've already been partnering with the ALS Association or ALS United for years, or Live Like Lou for years, and they don't have room necessarily to add one more organization. So the idea is that we would come together as a collective whole with other ALS organizations, because they're feeling the same thing we're feeling. Because when they go approach some of these sports leagues, sometimes the leagues are like, there's too many people coming at us. We don't want to work with you. So we want to come together as one unified group to say we are here to represent ALS as a whole and help raise awareness for ALS together, not raise awareness for ALS association, not raise awareness for IMALS necessarily, but that we are going to come together as one collective. So we figured, especially in the sports, to Randy's point, sports, everybody around the world is watching sports. So the popularity of sports and the need to raise awareness for ALS is an ideal relationship. Sports is one of few things in life that has no barriers among people, regardless of gender, language, race, parts of the world. Sports has a presence everywhere. Unfortunately, ALS shares this community with sports. Because of this fact, combining the love of sports with the love of helping a family member or dear friend in the fight for their life, we can help this be one. Major League Baseball has set the example, as I said, for the collaboration with sports and ALS awareness. As you know, every June, MLB and all of its franchises, all 30 teams, have a Lou Gehrig Day game in June. And as Matt mentioned, Lou Gehrig was a former baseball player. He passed away with complications over 80 years ago. So when you think about that, over 80 years ago, this man who was living with ALS, and the prognosis, if he was diagnosed today, would be no different than it was those 80 years ago. So that's why we're really looking to do more to help raise more awareness. So in this particular team, we want to start with NFL, NHL, and any other sports. We thought we would just be going after the NFL, but we've learned that other sports leagues are already getting their ALS awareness efforts up and going. So we want to join that while we can. And though not inspired by a sports league or franchise, a former college basketball player, Pete Freites, spearheaded the most successful fundraising effort for ALS research, the Ice Bucket Challenge, which you have heard about. Considering the expenses associated with a phase 3 clinical trial alone, hundreds of millions of dollars, or even greater ALS buck challenge, an even greater ice bucket challenge or the like is needed. As a member of the ALS community, you are already doing special things. Consider lending your talent and sharing your connections to contribute to this effort. So kind of the goals that we've set up is we want to amplify the fight against ALS. So obviously we know there's a lot going on. We want to do what we can with, again, any sports league that we can get our hands on that wants to help us. We know that there's already like the Cleats for a Cause going on. Randy and I were able to go to, and Ashley, who just joined us, by the way, we went to an ALS awareness event here at the Orlando Magic. So it's happening. So if we can get a team together to help us kind of identify those pockets where we can make it bigger and better and greater and work together, that would be amazing. So Randy says hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people could be reached by this effort. Team Gleason, an ALS organization that is a member of the team, has engaged with the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints in annual games between one another. Each game has had over 50,000 people in attendance at each game. Additionally, they do a 50-50 raffle where they raise thousands of dollars. Recently, and I just said this, we were able to garner support from the Orlando Magic, an NBA franchise, to host an ALS awareness event during one of their home games. Side note, if you don't know this, Randy's son is one of the assistant coaches there. And so not only were we able to attend the game with Randy and his entire family, but it was the first time Randy got to see his son in action. So that was really cool. There was approximately 19,000 people in attendance at that game. There are other events that the team members have organized and raising awareness, supporting caregivers and families impacted by ALS, and elevating the funds for research. As individual organizations, success had to accomplish impact in the ALS community. As a coalition, we are aiming to have an even greater impact. The one common denominator in the effort, there has been a connection with the sports entities and someone who has a relationship with the ALS community. A vested interest, simply put, is what it will take to end ALS. In concerning to join this effort, we welcome your skills to the team and your family and friends as well that know someone who knows someone, as well as others. It requires as many people as possible to defeat this and make history. So I'm going to kick it back to you, Matt.
Yep, I'll take this. And just to echo what you said, I might have misspoken earlier. I think I said we're going to focus on the NFL. I think that's going to be one of our key focuses to start, but we certainly don't want to necessarily limit ourselves if there's other good opportunities to jump at.
Yeah, I
For
think the
example,
original idea was that we were just going to focus on NFL, but
right.
there's so much momentum already with some of these other sports teams. I think we're going to just, if you can get us in a sports team, we're going to figure it out.
Absolutely, absolutely, totally agree. Yeah, I mean, I just saw, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the NHL, because of a former player, who has ALS, and he has a lot of obviously former teammates and friends, including, if you know hockey, Wayne Gretzky, we know considered one of the greatest players of all time, is pushing an initiative, and they just did a league-wide, all 30 plus, I think they have 32 teams. All of them, doing an awareness campaign. I have to read a little bit more about exactly what they're doing, but an awareness campaign for ALS, which is actually really exciting because one thing that's been a challenge with the MLB is having, it's been a little bit tougher. It depends on the league to get league-wide coordination. So you kind of have to go team by team if you want to get events organized. So, that could be, for example, an opportunity we want to look at. So and beyond that, I'll just give a brief overview of some of the ways we're expecting, folks who join this team can help out, some like tangible ideas. The first, and some of these will either be happening now or immediately, and others may not be things we'll have ready to start right out of the gate. I'll explain that in a second, but um, I think eventually this team will be tackling, you know, each of these areas. So the first would be outreach to key contacts within sports leagues, teams, athletes, etc., so we can build connections and form a strong, united coalition. So this is anything from, teams often have community relations managers. There's obviously ownership of the teams. If you can reach people in those front offices, athletes reaching them directly, that's going to be a little bit challenging. It's probably going through their agent or someone who works for them, who deals with community outreach or press inquiries, that kind of thing. We could probably get our foot in the door that way. And for example, it's not limited to the NFL, though, again, as I largely mentioned, because of our initial focus when we started this group, it's mostly NFL players and coaches that we focus on, players, coaches, owners, media personalities, which we focused on in the beginning. But we have a huge spreadsheet filled with basically a list of players and other, people with ties to leagues that have ALS ties as well. So people who either have or had the disease, people who are teammates of someone, had a family member, are doing some ALS awareness. Maybe we don't even know exactly what their connection is. And I think in the NFL, we've identified more than 100 folks. And then some of the other leagues, we also have lists, several dozen others who are actively involved. So we'll definitely need folks to help with that kind of outreach to players, teams, etc. The second bucket would be help with planning events, and this again might not be something we have a specific event or events in mind to plan, but I'm hoping and expecting they will come in the near future. So this could be anything from just some ideas we've thrown out are hosting or helping to organize ALS awareness days, or nights at sporting events, at games, meet and greet sessions with athletes, charity matches, sports clinics, autograph sessions, getting some sort of appearance or mention during halftime shows, public service announcements, and maybe appear on jumbotrons, that kind of thing. And having these events involve people with ALS, caretakers, and advocates as well is something we'll be looking for. Also, two things I'll mention on the events. We're obviously going to need for at least some of these, we're going to want to have special accommodations for seating arrangements, transportation support to these arenas or fields or wherever they are, to ensure a comfortable experience for all participants. And we're also going to want to have feedback about the events so we continuously improve on that inclusivity and make sure people are happy and having a good time at these events. When they involve like having folks with ALS in particular attend. And a third area we're probably going to be needing help is promoting both events and particularly successes or progress we make as teams. So if we for example, get an athlete to help us join our effort or, and then they're comfortable with us putting it out there, we might want to put on somewhere online and on social media that, so-and-so star athlete is, now involved in ALS awareness and fundraising or expanding what they have done previously. Um, and and then this is one probably maybe a little bit down the road that I don't know, maybe we do want to launch on this sooner would be to continue expanding our initiative by inviting more ALS groups, advocacy groups to join. So right now we have, Christy, I don't know if you know the exact number, but we have at least a handful of ALS organizations currently kind of partnering with us on this, or
Yep, there's 9
yeah, 9 so far. So,
so far.
but as we know, there are obviously, I think it was like I heard this on a different call, like 80 plus
Yeah.
different charities and organizations out there that working to try to end ALS and fundraise and that sort of thing. So obviously plenty of room to expand on that. And I think it will be a natural evolution as this effort picks up more steam and gains more traction. People will probably be coming to us asking to help and join, or at least that's my hope. So with all that being said, I think Christy will get a little bit more detail on how you can do this. But so I just invite folks to obviously reach out if you have questions or feedback, you can ask now. But just join the team and we will certainly figure out ways you can help and field people's ideas because I'm sure you all have brilliant ideas of what else we're missing, what else we could be doing. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
So,
Thank you,
Christy,
Randy. And
sorry.
I was just saying, thank you, Randy and Matt, for putting all those talking points together because I definitely could not have done it justice the way that you two did. So thank you both. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Yes, go ahead, Melissa.
So, Christy, I have a question. If I were to get the coach of the Yukon Huskies involved, do you have like a one pager I can show him, or like something I can give him that's really quick? Say, hey, this is what we're doing. Can you help?
Yep. So we let me pull it up real quick. We have a landing page that I will be happy to share with you. And let me just hold on, let me well, you're just gonna see in its raw form because I can't figure out. Oh, here we go. Hold on, sorry. I'm going to share this with you so you can see it. It's our team landing page. And so once you, I'm just going to assume you're going to join us, Melissa. So you're in.
I am. Yes.
Whether you know it or not. So this is our team landing page that we're working on.
Okay.
And it's got, so this is the team landing page that we've been working on with the other ALS organizations that are part of here. So it's got our previous agendas, and this is not our logo, by the way. This was just a holding point. We're looking
Right.
for a logo, but this has all the agendas that we've met with. This has that document that Matt was talking about. It's got a list of all the partners that we've been working with. It's got contacts. It's got Matt did a ridiculous amount of work to put together like who the athletes were, who people that are associated in sports who are living with and or affected by ALS. We also have this draft framework that we're working on that is something that is for all of the ALS partners who are part of this. So it's got our mission, our goals, our outcomes, action items, et cetera, et cetera. And our next meeting, and I'm going to get to your answer in a minute, but
Right.
it's got what our next meeting with that group is tomorrow. And I'll explain what that meeting is and how you would be involved with that. But
Okay.
then we also have in here links to the Cleats for a Cause, NFL players, and then our ALS awareness events. And what I need to add here is exactly what you just asked for. We do have something that we are working on, and I'll get it out to you, that is
Okay.
like a one pager.
Okay.
That can explain what we're looking for, how the partners, and it's kind of an adaptation of what we were using for the MLB teams.
Right.
And it'll just be, we'd love your partnership, and it, like at the basketball game, the Orlando Magic,
Okay.
we got time on the field. So they did it was very short. It was like maybe 2 minutes, if that. Randy and his family and myself were invited onto the court.
Okay.
I think I called it a field before. We
You
were
did.
called,
I got confused. I'm like,
told
what?
you. We were invited onto the court. They read a recognition of Randy and thanking him for his efforts. And then 3 times on the Jumbotron, we got 30-second little plugs that had the
Oh,
IALS logo, and then they read a script that our communications team put together for
cool.
them. So really anything that we can get from a sports team to acknowledge ALS, to, if we can be invited to participate, if we can be invited to be on the Jumbotron, whatever they're willing to give us, we
Okay.
take.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, our dream is like the baseball games, the Lou Gehrig Day, is that we would be able to have a group of folks get together and, take pictures together. So really whatever we can.
Right. Okay. I'm going to his restaurant for dinner. I don't want to take up hours of the guy's time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, you're fine. You're
Yeah.
absolutely fine. So let me, I will get that talking sheet to you. Any other questions? And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the meeting time and then our bigger meeting too. But any other questions?
Wait, what time's the meeting tomorrow?
Well, so that meeting, because of the number of people that are there and because of the representation from the other groups, those standing meetings will be attended by Randy, Matt, and myself.
Okay.
Because again, there's 9 other organizations,
Right. Okay.
and they wanted to, the idea was, well, we can't have a meeting with 50 people on it, right? It would get
Right.
wieldy. So we said that the 3 of us would go, we'd get the information and
And
bring it.
report back.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that meeting tomorrow, that's our 3rd meeting with this group. We're going to finalize the framework. We are looking for someone to spearhead each of the different sports outlets. And then we've got some tasks. So what we would do is the 3 of us will be there, and then we'll come back in our next meeting for this group and report back and see what.
Okay.
And in the meantime, kind of your homework would be, if you're interested to be part of the team, please email me. And I will, so this is going to be an official community team, just like community outreach, Many Shades, our writing team, the Lou Gehrig Day team. So this is going to move off of, it's been living with the community outreach team. This is going to move off of that team and now be its own standalone team. So this will be another IMALS team initiative. So if you want to be part of that, please, I'm going to put my email address. I can't talk and type at the same time, in the chat, and email me. I'll make sure you get on the listserv that I create for the team, as well as the invitation for the meeting. So again, the meetings right now, we're going to aim for twice a month, first and third Tuesdays of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. And I don't have to email you, Christy, right? Because you
I know.
automatically.
Yeah, I already got it. You're on the list.
Okay. You
Yep.
said whether I wanted to be on or not, which I do want to be
Yeah.
on. So.
Right. It's not an option for you, Melissa.
Okay.
And it's not really an option for Ashley either, because she's, she's a sports person, so she's going to be part of this too. So,
Ashley Lee is here.
yep,
Hey, what's up, Ash?
she's hiding in the shadows.
Oh.
Any other questions or anything, Matt or Randy, that you want to add?
Nothing for me, but just to thank everyone for, considering joining and encourage people to join if you have questions. I mean, like with all our teams, I mean, any participation is totally welcome. So, your availability is totally respected, your time, that kind of thing. So,
Right.
but we would appreciate anything you feel you can contribute, whether it's some ideas, feedback, suggestions, or like getting more in the weeds with us and getting involved. Any and all are welcome. So
Yeah.
because we'll
Awesome.
definitely need help. As you can see, there's a lot of leagues, a lot of teams, a lot of sheep to herd kind of thing, in these different leagues. So we'll be looking for all the support we can get. So
Yeah.
appreciate
Awesome.
it.
All right. Well, thank you all, and I will we'll follow up with you. I'm gonna get Emily Johnson, who is our resident YouTube guru. She will move this recording onto our YouTube channel, and then we'll get some notes out to you and next steps. And I look forward to seeing everybody. And you get 13 minutes back in your day. So,
I'll see you soon, Christy.
yeah. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Matt and Randy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.